Eight-time Russian champion Peter Svidler, commentator extraordinaire. Peter, this event wasn't what you wanted.
No.
Give us a sense of this particular game, first of all.
Yeah, this is kind of regrettable because that was a very good chance to, end the tournament on a slightly more cheerful note. And I think I played fine up to a point, but I had a brief talk with Leonard outside, and he showed me some computer evaluations. And it's extremely annoying that I think it's like a function of how the beginning of the tournament went for me, that I just couldn't convince myself to do things I knew in my heart to be right. And I think I was still probably close to winning even after not doing that. But specifically the position, to kind of give some kind of a context with the board, the position after Rook H1, Bishop G5. If we could bring it up on.
We have it. We're right here.
Yeah. First of all, Bishop takes F6 is such a Florida move, right?
A what move?
Florida?
Yeah, Florida? It's such a Florida move.
Where did you get that one from?
I've been thinking, I played Bishop F6 and Jeffrey thought for like 40 minutes, so I had time to describe it to myself, and I thought it's just such a retirement village move.
Now we understand the retirement village.
It's
move.
Just
lazy man's move.
Just go. Just go.
I live in Florida now.
I know.
Retiring in Florida.
And, that was one of the reasons I was really looking forward to saying that. But yeah, just go knight f1 in that position and play. But also Jeffrey was playing much faster than me, and this is like move 13, and I had like 40 minutes left. I'm sure I'm better, but I don't know how clear it is, because when that gets to G3, I still have no direct threats. It's not like I'm going to be winning in 3 moves here. But yeah, I mean, clearly this is the way to go for maximum. And then Jeffrey sort of re-gifted the game back to me, because I think after takes, knight G4, in his spot, I would have just I would have taken on G4, C3, played knight E5 on long castles in about 3 seconds flat. And that position, I mean, I do have an extra pawn, but the knight, what I missed originally, I was kind of happy about this. And then, no, you take on C3 first, of course. You need to break this open, otherwise there's really no counterplay. And then you go knight E5, and after queen E2, I'm such a, for me, bishops are always better than knights. So I kind of took on C4 in this position in my mind. And then white is much, much better. But what you do here is you castle and you get the knight from E5 to C5. And I don't think I can stop it. And with the knight on C5, it's not that the counterplay is very strong. I will put the bishop on B3. There is never going to be any threats to my king, I don't think. But it's kind of difficult for me to push with the knight on C5, kind of keeping an eye on things. And as Jeffrey was thinking, I kept on running this position in my head, and I thought, okay, I mean, I have more pawns, it's excellent, but how easy will this be to win? And I came to the conclusion that probably not easy at all. Mm-hmm. The one thing that was kind of cheering me up during that process was that Jeffrey continued thinking, and I could see that he wasn't really very enthused about this. But bishop takes h4, I think, is just a horrible decision. You just have to take your lumps there. The opening did not go to plan, so yeah. And here, it's kind of hard to criticize what I did, but I think just playing g3 here effectively wins the game as well. Yeah, bishop f6, I think, takes f4. We don't need to even discuss this position. The reason I decided not to was that it allows an endgame. I wanted to, I thought I will just give mate in the game. And here black can take on g4, go queen g5, check. But we play f4, and after bishop e7, we have a very important move, rook h5, which I had seen. It's not like I didn't see it. I mean, this is about as winning an endgame as you can have with material equal. Because, black maybe doesn't lose any material immediately, like rook d8, d7, bishop f6, bishop f8, g7 somehow. But I don't even need to collect anything. Like, every single piece of mine is better than every single piece of his.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I knew this was kind of close to winning. And then, instead, you can play takes bishop f6 here. And this maybe would have been playable.
Sorry.
Bishop f6 in this position, yeah.
In this position.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I think after f4, the king just never gets to c8. This is the problem. If black could castle queenside here, black would be completely fine. But with the queen on g4, I don't think the king ever gets to c8. And in fact, I'm going to start playing e5, f5 any moment now, the true Benoni style. And yeah, this is just much better than what I did. But the one that really hurts, this, okay, I can understand. I wanted to keep the queens on, and I really thought knight e3 was like borderline winning. But then he found this very interesting idea of h5, h4, which I don't know if it's good, but it's a very interesting try to keep like some control over the dark squares. And here my plan, as I was playing rook h1, my plan was to wait until he plays bishop g5, which I think is strictly the only move in the position, because otherwise knight f5 will win the next move. So rook h1 as I played, bishop g5. And my plan was just to come to the board and play e4, e5 in this position. And then
e5.
Yeah, and then I talked myself out of it. And this is just heartbreaking, because, you know, I knew this was correct. I knew this is how you're supposed to play these positions. And then I started calculating d4, d5, knight e4. No, d5, bishop d5 I think is completely lost. I don't think you can hold this. But d5, knight e4, and I played king f8 for him in this position, I think. I think king f8 was worrying me more than castles, although castles also doesn't lose by force. And I started thinking, like, if I don't give mate immediately, how winning is this? Because the files in front of the black king are closed for now. Opening up the f file or the g file is not going to be very easy. And if you imagine black like landing the king on g7 and then starting to like take on e3 and play bishop e6, it's a solid position. Like black obviously needs a few tempi, but yeah, but the machine says knight d6 more or less wins in this position, apparently, which I did not really understand from. Even now, after I've seen it on a computer screen, I still don't understand why it's so crushing. Like bishop e6, for instance, bishop takes and queen takes e6, for instance. But obviously, machine is never wrong about these things, and if it says it's winning, it's winning. But it's kind of really upsetting not to make moves like this when you know I used to be a good dynamic player, and like everything screamed at me that like you have to queen takes e6 is a cop out. I'm still much better in that endgame, but it's a cop out, and just do this and then think later.
And then collect the brilliancy prize too.
I don't know. Yeah, well, and then I think a very, very big chance was missed when I missed some. For once, I decided to trust my hand, because I think I kind of refocused and played this quite well. And for instance, I really like the move king a2, which I think against like 7 minutes is a very, very strong choice, because we're keeping things together and we're passing the move to black, and it's difficult to make a choice. And it might. The point of king a2 is I'm sidestepping like knight f3 d2 counterplay. I'm making sure that knight d2 is never a check. So it's a very useful kind of a holding move, passing the decision to Jeffery. And the decision is annoying enough that he actually gave me the b7 pawn here. And then I just thought I was winning by force, and I decided not to calculate any further. And here, yeah, knight a5 I think is much stronger than knight c5. Because as I didn't realize at the time, we're threatening f4, knight c6, knight d5.
f4,
Oh, nice.
knight c6. Ah, it's a very nice
Yeah, so like rook
idea.
h2, f4, I'm instantly winning.
Wow.
Because
That's a pretty
I get
line.
rid of all of my weaknesses. I trade off some passive pieces, and we're two up in an endgame.
Exactly.
And the threat of f4 basically means that Jeffery doesn't have time to play rook h2, and if he doesn't have time to play rook h2, I'm 2 pawns up, and I should be able to stabilize. But I thought knight c5 was just winning. I calculated knight c5, rook h2, rook g1, and after f6, basically what I missed is the move bishop e3 as played in the game. I thought he has to play king d6 here, as after rook g7 check. And after king d6 we take king c5, and very, very importantly, I can go knight d5, bishop g5, knight c7. And I thought this was very strong. Even here after king d4, I don't know why I thought this was so good looking at this position. But I will win the a7 pawn, so at least you know this will be a race at least. But in the game, I end up with those stupid pieces on b3 and c3. I'm not even better. I think after rook g8, bishop b3, I have to be careful not to be worse.
Let's hold for a second, please,
Sure.
because the exchanges did happen in the other game that is going on right now, the only game left. The queens were exchanged after rook to e1. Fabi found nothing better than to take on c4 and go to this endgame where his pawn looks firmly blockaded in this double rook ending. So, Peter, you end up drawing this game. How do you assess your tournament overall and looking forward to future events?
Well, had I won today, I would have said, it's kind of reasonably well salvaged. And in general, the second half, I resembled a human being in most games. But it hasn't been an unqualified success. Let's put it like this. And I'm very disappointed with my play here. I think I haven't really managed to play a single game sort of from start to finish without glitching. I've come close in some games, but 40 moves without something that I myself evaluate very, very harshly seems to be, beyond me for this particular event, which is annoying. But I mean, it's over now, and there is time to reflect and regroup and think about where to go next.
All right, we'll let you reflect and regroup. We know you'll be back, and we'll look forward to that.
Thank you.